Have you ever wanted to learn organic chemistry? Or wondered if a jellyfish has a brain? Have you ever wanted to fix your own lawnmower or curious about what happened to the Backstreet Boys? Lucky for you, we live in the digital or information age. And what would have taken hours of research, various trips to the libraries, or even having you look for a content expert is now at your fingertips because of smartphones and digital devices. The issue is not necessarily in getting them into students' hands, but making them a part of our daily learning experiences. Today, we'll explore why we need to make sure this isn't a roadblock for our students. I'm going to be focusing on 3 sets of stakeholders that will help ensure that this movement to have everyone connected is a success: teachers, parents or guardians, and students. Teachers, our students collectively spend a majority of their time with you. You are their mentors, source of content expertise, and in some cases considered family. The norms and policies you set in your classes dictate how the learning is carried out, and without your consent, the wondrous technology that a majority of teens have in their pockets could go without use in an educational capacity. I will try to convince you to rethink this. Parents or guardians, in most cases, you are a child's bankroll. Without you providing the necessities, let alone the items that we may consider luxury items, like smartphones and laptops, most children would be in trouble. I hope to sway your spending to help give your child access to information as a means to improve their education. Students, I really need your help. Most adults think that giving you access to your phones all day is a bad idea, but you and I know that in order to prepare you for the future and careers that may not exist today, we have to foster your curiosity and keep you engaged. And what better way to do this than with technology in your pocket and on your lap?
Trying to meet the future by doing what they did in the past. And on the way, they're alienating millions of kids who don't see any purpose in going to school. When we went to school, we were kept there with a story, which was if you worked hard and did well and got a college degree, you would have a job. We should. Why would you lower them? You know, I haven't come across an argument that persuades me of lowering them. But raising them, of course we should raise them. The problem is that the current system of education was designed and conceived and structured for a different age. It was conceived in the intellectual culture of the Enlightenment and in the economic circumstances of the Industrial Revolution. Before the middle of the 19th century, there were no systems of public education. We should be doing the exact opposite. We shouldn't be putting them asleep. We should be waking them up to what they have inside of themselves. But the model we have is this. I believe we have a system of education that is modeled on the interests of industrialism and in the image of it. I'll give you a couple of examples. Schools are still pretty much organized on factory lines, ringing bells, separate facilities, specialized into separate subjects. We still educate children by batches. You know, we put them through the system by age group. Why do we do that? You know, why is there this assumption that the most important thing kids have in common is how old they are? You know, it's like the most important thing about them is their date of manufacture. You know what I mean? Well, I know kids who are much better than other kids at the same age in different disciplines, you know, or at different times of the day, or better in smaller groups than in large groups, or sometimes they want to be on their own. If you're interested in the model of learning, you don't start from this production line mentality. It's essentially about conformity, and increasingly it's about that as you look at the growth of standardized testing and standardized curricula. And it's about standardization. I believe we've got to go in the exact opposite direction. That's what I mean about changing the paradigm. There was a great study done recently.
As we just saw, there is a great need for change and to move away from traditional style of lesson delivery to engage our students. In her article, This Time It's Personal, Jennifer Dembski also calls for us as educators to head into a more personalized learning model to better prepare our students for the future. No matter whom is calling us to this great paradigm shift, the message is clear. In order to get there, we will need to enlist the help of technology. As teachers, we need to be willing to allow and encourage the use of personal devices in the classroom. Tight budgets have impeded one-to-one initiatives, making the transition of school purchase technology use difficult. But according to the Pew Research Center, 73% of teenagers already have smartphones that we, as classroom teachers, can use to our benefit. What about the other students? Pairing students up, informing parents of low-cost options like burner phones or prepaid phones, or using little in our budgets to make a few devices available for those who do not have them can fill these voids. Here's a burner or prepaid phone that can be purchased relatively inexpensively without a cell phone or data plan, and students can access the school's Wi-Fi when at school for classroom use and through low-cost options at home, which I will detail later. Now that we have explored some of the potential obstacles, we need to make sure that we have clear device use policies in place to ensure that everyone is on the same page about what is appropriate, as well as when the devices can be used for educational purposes. I understand the worry about students being distracted and wasting class time, but with a bit of vigilance, proper professional development, and support, the benefits of creating a classroom setting that enables the use of devices far outweigh the risks. Once you've made a decision to allow the use of personal devices, there are various apps and uses for instruction that will enhance the learning experience for your students, keep them engaged, and truly make your lessons more memorable and enjoyable to deliver. There are tools like Socrative and Poll Everywhere that will give you an informal assessment of where your students are in terms of their learning, and even social media tools that can demonstrate proofs of learning through videos, photos, or even hashtags. By getting devices into students' hands, they now have access to basic internet and researching tools that can be used to enhance learning as well. Through professional development, support, and research on the use of technology in your class, the ways you can enhance your lessons are limitless. After becoming open to the idea of allowing students to freely access information in your classes, we can begin to shift away from the traditional sage on the stage lesson delivery to becoming more of the facilitator of learning, not the delivery of information they already have access to. In this way, you become a teacher of processes, not necessarily content. So, my task is to try and convince you on how to prioritize your money. Fortunately, according to data, most teenagers and adults already own smartphones and have a computer at home. For those that don't, I would like to encourage you to prioritize the expense of purchasing a smartphone for yourself and for your student in an effort to be able to have access to information and ultimately lessen the achievement gap. I totally understand that it's difficult to stretch an already tight budget for something that is not a necessity, but I would argue that in this day and age, it is becoming one. Seemingly a first world problem, but considering the results of a study conducted by Qualcomm, which showed a 30% increase in test scores for low-income students who were provided access to smartphones for information and to collaborate, I think it would be a necessity. One of the big concerns of all adults is the worry of students being irresponsible with their time on phones. But I like a quote provided through the blog Mindshift. The internet is about empowerment. If we take away this access because we think certain people aren't going to use it right, we're no better than governments who take away voting rights from minorities. Now that I've convinced you, here are some low-cost options for getting you and your child a device at school and or at home. I've already discussed the burner or prepaid phone option, but here's a Chromebook option that is well priced and will provide your student with all the functionality they need. Both the phone or laptop would have Wi-Fi access at school or locations that provide free Wi-Fi, and there are also low-cost options for internet access at home as well. Everyoneon.org is a site that helps connect internet service providers with low-cost internet options and a free monthly internet service. You go to the site and they connect you with an ISP that gets you free monthly internet via a hotspot thumb drive for your computer. Every month you get unlimited free data usage. Speeds do slow down after a certain amount, but it is unlimited. The only cost is for the hotspot thumb drive and shipping, roughly $50 to $60. As mentioned already, there is a fear that students will be mischievous and get into the dark sides of the internet, but with proper vigilance and parent support provided by schools and school districts, the benefits far exceed the negative. According to data everywhere, you guys like to spend an enormous amount of time on your phones, and a lot of time is wasted. Some estimates are as high as 9 hours a day according to a report by Common Sense Media, and that 13-year-olds check social media an average of 100 times per day. I don't think this will change much, and I actually think adults telling you not to do something through policies at school makes you want to do it more. The good news is I believe in you. I think that given the opportunity to use devices for research and to engage more deeply in your learning, you will do so. I'm making a plea to your teachers and your parents to get these devices into your hands, so let's be responsible. Follow guidelines set by your teachers, be on task, and put them away when asked. Be good digital citizens. Don't engage in cyberbullying, be safe when browsing the web, and careful when you download items. Follow copyright laws, and when given a task to do and access to information, use it appropriately. Don't just plagiarize information and try to pass it off as your own. Adults want to trust you, so show them they can. Now, let's go out and make this our charge. Let's make our classrooms and homes better places to be able to answer as many questions and take full advantage of all that the information age has to offer. Thank you.